Hey, everybody out there, welcome back to 91.8 The Fan. It is I, your favorite holiday-themed host, the DJ Christmas, and I have with me a very special guest, which is rather fitting for today's E3 showcase. Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody out there?
Hey everyone, this is Antony Del Rio.
Very cool. And we're talking a bit behind the scenes about how E3 is kicking off, and there hasn't been anything related to stuff that you've worked on quite yet, but how exactly did you get started working in the voiceover world?
You know what? That was a world that I never actually knew I was going to be a part of. It literally fell on my lap 4 years ago, and I had the show on Cartoon Network. And from there, it kind of carried on and branched off, and I met different voice directors and animation directors, and I kind of worked on different projects with the same directors.
Very cool. And then from there, you got your not exactly first major role, but it was your first role in a major franchise in the Metal Gear Solid world.
That's right. That's right. I met the director for Metal Gear Solid, and I think that was the first after the show. That was the first big franchise that I worked on, and I played this Hispanic kid named Chico. And from there, I worked on God of War with the same director, and she's actually the one who helped me find Kid Icarus Uprising.
Kid Icarus Uprising, it may not have the same sort of popularity as a long-running franchise that Metal Gear Solid or Peace Walker, or not Peace Walker, God of War has, but it's something that Nintendo has been pushing to bring back, and they pushed for it with Super Smash Brothers, and then now we finally have the new Uprising on 3DS, which is just, in my opinion, it's the game that the 3DS was made for right now.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's an honor. I think what's most exciting for me is that I actually get to play Pitt, the main lead character of that game, and that's actually the first game that I've ever had this much work to do, and it's an honor that they trust me with being the lead character on that game. It's great.
And not just Pit, you get to play the main anti-hero Dark Pit as well,
That's right. That's right.
which is just a lot of fun. One of the things that I really like about Kid Icarus Uprising is it doesn't have the traditional cutscenes. It's the whole game is one big cutscene. It's all completely voiced over as you're going through, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, one question that I had one time was, what's the difference, or do I feel like there was a difference between when I was working on that TV show to this game? And I said, with the previous work, like Metal Gear, God of War, or Ace Combat, or anything like that, I would say there's a big difference, as far as video games and TV shows go. But this one, there was so much dialogue and it was so much fun, and I would say very much so that it's a lot alike from a TV show. It's almost like I was just shooting a big long animation episode, and it was great.
And it's interesting because usually with voiceover in video games, especially for stuff like Metal Gear or God of War, you have to match a lot of lip flaps because it's done in Japanese beforehand.
That's
But
right.
uh, Kid Icarus, you don't really have to worry about that too much. I mean, there's a few quick animated things with in-betweens with Pit or Dark Pit and everyone else, but for the most of the time, it's just a still illustration that you add a voice to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit it right on the head there. I think most of the game was just didn't really have to follow the lip flap, and there were a couple scenes that I did, and uh, and I think it turned out pretty great. I think it turned out pretty fine, and I love those cutscenes that we had there.
And I'm curious because with that sort of situation where you go in, you record your lines, and then you go out, was it like that, or was it a whole bunch of you together in a room, like an American animation piece?
The way it worked was the only person that I actually worked with inside the booth was Ali Hillis, who played Lady Palutena in the game, and she was the first half of the game was me and her in the booth together, and we recorded together. I guess so they can make sure that the banter between Pitt and Lady Palutena came out genuine and nice to listen to. So the first half of the whole game was just me and Ali Hillis in the booth and recording and having fun and but that was the only person that I think worked together. I don't think anyone else was actually in the booth together. Everyone else were kind of recording back to somebody who recorded previously.
Well, that makes sense with, on the one hand, you're a little bit newer, so it would be easier to have it be more genuine if it was you and Allie together. But
Sure.
at the same time, it really does help the feel because most of the game is Pit and Palutena going back and forth.
Yeah, no, I definitely I would say hands down I like it better when we're both in the studio together.
I can just imagine how it would be if you were together with somebody like Troy doing Pyron or Scott doing Hades, especially during those tense moments. Pit, Hades,
That's
Pit,
right. That's right.
Hades,
It
and
would have been great. I would have loved. I actually didn't get to meet the voice of Hades. The only people that I met were Ali Hillis, Hendon, who played Verity, and Cree Summer, who played Medusa. And the other two I just met passing each other in the hallway.
yeah, we talked to Hendon about a month ago, and she was a lot of fun to have on.
Oh, great. Very
And we
nice.
we had Allie back when Final Fantasy 13 came out, and we're looking to have her again, especially with the resurgence that she's having with the good stuff like this, Kid Icarus, and the new Final Fantasy. But
Yeah,
it's just great to talk to people who are newer on the scene, so we can get bit a shift of perspective. You know, this
sure.
is the first time that you're really seeing this, and in a lot of cases, not only is it new for you, but it's a new type of format for everyone.
Sure, absolutely.
And what would you say is some of your favorite points about the game from not necessarily a voice standpoint, but just overall?
I think it's just so much fun. It's different. And I think that was until you play the game, I think people saw the trailers on YouTube, and I think you don't really understand it until you actually play the game. That if this makes sense, it makes fun of itself in a serious way.
It
You know,
really does.
so the whole game is serious, and it's meant to be that way as far as breaking the fourth wall or anything like that, really. And but it does it so well, and the writing and Nintendo just, in my opinion, kind of really hit it uh, on the head there again. That it's so different and it's fun, and you laugh at it and you laugh at yourself playing it and you laugh at Pitt and Palutena and the whole team. I think that's my favorite part of this whole project is that at least I haven't played anything kind of like it that makes fun of itself but in a serious way, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's absolutely a very unique experience, not just in the way that it's you constantly have to be paying attention as you go along, but in the fact that it pokes a lot of fun at itself in a whole lot of ways. Like when the chapter is as Dark Pit, I don't need to land, his power of flight lasts forever. It's like, well, I'm disappointed that we won't have a land battle this chapter. They say that out loud.
Right.
It's
And I think they mentioned sometimes, if I remember, a loading screen. I think it says something like wow, this chapter's so big. There was a loading screen back there. I think it said something like that. Pitt had a line like that,
a
and it's
loading
just so fun.
screen. They talk about getting turned into eggplants in the original Kid Icarus. They talk
Right.
about when you die, he says, "I'm finished." I still say that a lot.
I love that line actually. I remember recording that one.
It's true because if you don't play this game on about a 2 difficulty, it can get pretty tough if you don't have high-powered enough weapons.
Sure. Absolutely.
And you said that you've played it yourself. A lot of the times, the voice actors don't really get to play the games themselves, or sometimes they don't even know what they're voicing for. Obviously, with a game like this, where it's as hands-on as it is, you kind of need to know a little bit about what you're talking about.
Right. Well, when I first auditioned for this, I did not know what I was auditioning for. They gave it a code name. I forget what the code name was, but they gave it a code name for the first, I think, month of auditions, and I kind of just went in, and they gave me the description. We elaborated on that and kind of worked with it until we all found something that we liked. I came in for a callback with Ali Hillis again, who plays Lady Palutena, and I think it was a mix and match, kind of make sure that we work well with each other. And after that, I found out when I went into the studio again, I found out that I'd be voicing Pit and Dark Pit for Kid Icarus Uprising.
And
But it took that long. They're very careful and secretive with what information they're allowed to give the public, even the actors.
yeah, which makes a lot of sense in like the initial planning stages, but once the game's announced and you can hear a snippet of a voice on like a trailer or something, I feel like it should be okay to announce that, which I think Nintendo did rather well with the 3DS video movies, the three little shorts they had with everybody going on.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Oh yeah, where our names come out in the credits at the end.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's sort of a teaser so people who are paying attention can get to know, and it helps promote a lot more about the game and
The
the animation
franchise altogether. Sure.
done by the Japanese studios like 4 Degrees Celsius, I think was one of them that did one of the three little shorts. And those are just
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of fun to watch too. And when you got Dark Pit, did you audition for that separately or was it just kind of thrown at you in addition to Pit?
No, no, it was all auditioned at the same time. I'm trying to think. It was we auditioned for Pitt first, so of course I did the whole "Hey, Lady Palatina," and afterwards they told me, okay, this guy's gonna be the opposite. This is his dark opposite, and that was Dark Pit, and that was more dark, of course, and I kind of just did it with my regular voice or a bit lower, and it's like, please stop calling me that,
Yeah,
and it was
Pitu
both at the
is the
same time.
greatest nickname ever.
Thanks. I think Pitt called him Patui, but Lady Palatina made it clear that Patu was his name.
Yeah, it again, just a lot of the very savvy banter between all the characters involved. You could almost feel like you all were in the room together.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
But it's interesting that they made that clear, even if they didn't say who it was, but the fact that you would be having a dark half right away in the audition sequence like that.
Oh yeah, they told us right away. I think they wanted to make sure. I don't think they wanted two different actors um, to play the two different parts. They wanted to make sure, again, because Dark Pit is essentially another half of Pit. So I think they wanted some kind of similarities. So they just wanted to be, clear and make sure that this actor can play two different characters on the spectrum.
Right, and not just two different voice tones, but two different personalities altogether, really.
Right, exactly.
And did they ever have you do them one after another, like you were talking to yourself, or did they have you do Pit and then do Dark Pit separate?
Actually, in the beginning, I did have to go right after myself, which was hard because obviously there's more pit lines. So I'd be doing a lot of high pitched stuff like Lady Palatina. Okay, yeah, let's fight Hades. Let's go fight and
Let's
prepare to
fight
meet
that
the fight.
guy, Hades, yeah.
That's right. So I had to do a whole bunch of that, and my voice was used to being up there. So when it came to Pit Two or Dark Pit, it was a little harder, just because I mean I don't know if you've ever uh, had fun and have done voices or screamed at a basketball game or something like that. It's kind of hard to go in your lower register after that.
Yeah.
Um, so in the beginning, it was a little difficult because my voice was used to being high and doing the pit voice. So going down and stop calling me that was a little harder. So I think from then we decided, okay, we'll record the pits this day, and then tomorrow we'll come back and do Dark Pit, and then I would just record to what I recorded the day previously.
Very cool. And obviously, with something like this, there aren't a whole lot of death screams like in Call of Duty. But did you have any difficulty doing the one main death scream when Pit gets finished?
Oh, I'm trying to think. One scene that I remember was that I loved. That was I remember kind of struggling with it, but in a good way. Was I think Dark Pit gets attacked, and Pit goes over to Dark Pit and tries to save him, and he's like, "Veriti, let me fly!" And he's
Yeah,
screaming.
the final hurrah before he burns his wings, and you have to go through the chapter as Dark Pit.
Exactly, and I felt like that scene was so powerful. Um, I think that was the one scene that I could say was a little more difficult because it was kind of screaming on the top of my lungs. I know it may not sound like it on the video game, but in the booth, you kind of have to go all out, or you're not going to get the reactions that you want or the feeling that you want through that. Um, but uh, but yeah, I think that was the one scene that was difficult, but I love the way it turned out, especially when we heard it back after we recorded it. Uh, I think I lost my voice on that one after just doing it three times because I wanted the feeling to come out in my voice um, so much, and I wanted the message to come across that I lost my voice after just doing it three times.
Wow, that's got to be a little tough, especially since this is like your first big thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it, and I wanted to prove that I was serious about this game, and I wanted the game to be welcomed by the public, and I didn't want to half anything. I wanted everything to come out the way it should have came out.
Definitely, and it really does show in the final product, if you don't mind me saying.
Oh, thank you. I
And
really appreciate it.
one of the things that I really enjoy is not just how the banter goes, but there are certain levels, I think the third Aurum level before you go fight Pyron, where you can actually do things differently and hear different bits of dialogue, like a little bit of banter between Pit and Viridi, where there's sort of hint at some relationship between the two.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool thing about it too. There's different characters that I think Pit gets to have banter with. One, of course, being Palutena, which is throughout the whole game. Viridi is obviously that more sarcastic, kind of sharp girl, so that banter is different and it's cute in its own way. And then, of course, the banter between Pit and Hades, which is kind of darker, but still a lot of fun to it. And I think that's a lot of the magic as well from this game.
Yeah, especially since Hades is such a he's not as sarcastic as Viridi in a mean way. He just everything he does he has absolute fun with.
Yeah, and I wish I would have been able to meet him because I love his work.
Yeah, he obviously had a lot of fun. One of my other favorites was when Pit is talking to himself, not Dark Pit, but literally out loud to himself when he's inside Hades' body.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun to play with as well. I think I had to pretend like I was Lady Palutena for a while, and I was kind of doing her voice like oh Pit, and then that whole thing that was a lot of fun to record. There was actually a time where I was in the booth with Allie, and of course being in there hours at a time, we're kind of having fun with each other, and I think they were ready to record a scene that we had together, and we just decided to play our lines as if we were one another. So I would read the Pit lines how Lady Palutena would read it or how Allie would read it, and she would read the Palutena lines how I would read Pit. So I was very kind of monotone and kind of like, Lady Palutena, where do you want to go now? And then she'd be the kind of energetic like, oh Pit, you got to find this. And then we were kind of just having a lot of fun, and we have that somewhere. We have that recorded somewhere. Obviously, that's not what we used for the end product, but it was just a lot of fun.
No,
And I think
it would have been nice if that made it somewhere into the game, like complete all of the challenges and you get to hear it.
yeah, like a bloopers kind of thing. I think that would have been cool. But I mean, that just shows how much fun we had recording this game. It took a year and a half, so I think it was important that we all were happy and having fun with everything.
That's one of the things I like about not just Kid Icarus, but pretty much all the Nintendo games is they don't take themselves too seriously. They take themselves just seriously enough. So when those moments that do show up, like going to save Dark Pit or the final fight with Hades, that they seem all the more powerful, whereas a lot of the time it's a lot of fun and lightheartedness.
Right? Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree.
And now, for the listeners out there, do you have anything new up and coming that you're allowed to talk about? I know that, especially with video games, they keep you guys very tight-lipped about a lot of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, there's actually a video game that I'm working on now. I posted some pictures on my Twitter uh, that I can't really release the name of it yet, but it's the first time that I've ever done face motion capture, which is
Ooh.
basically they're putting all these censored dots on my face, and they have infrared lights and cameras recording my face while I'm in the booth. And it was such a great experience. We're still recording, but it's an amazing experience. I just finished recording God of War Ascension, so I came back for another God of War.
Very cool.
I yeah, I've worked on previously on ABC Family, a new ABC Family show that's coming out premiering in June, I think June 11th, called Bunheads, and I'm coming back this week, so my character gets to recur at least for one more episode. And what else? Just on my own time, I've met a team of writers. I'm part of this team now that I got to meet, and we're actually writing two pilots, which I'm super excited about. One of them actually being animation. So I'm excited about that. And that's what I've been working on.
Sounds very cool. We'll definitely have to look for you in the new God of War as well as this new face capture game that you're working on. Are there any places where the listeners can keep in touch with you so they can follow up exactly as soon as you're allowed to let people know more about those other projects?
Absolutely. I'll announce something first right here on 91.8 The Fan.
Awesome, we got
Uh,
exclusive coverage.
Exclusive, exactly. So my Twitter is Antony underscore Del Rio. So it's ANTONY_DELRIO. And the feedback from Kid Icarus Uprising has been so amazing, and the supporters and all the fans have been great. So I definitely want to help and give back. With the help of you and with the help of the listeners and all the followers who can follow me, when I hit 650 followers, I am going to bring a camera along with me for like a week straight to show all the behind the scenes of everything that I've been working on, as far as going on set to in the studio recording video games, anything that I'm writing, and I'm going to bring a camera along because I don't think people get to see that. They kind of just get to see the end product, and it's cool for me. So I think it'd be really cool for people to see what a set looks like, what when the camera's shooting you, or when the people in the booth are recording your voice, and how everything looks. So I'm going to do that, and then also when I hit 750 followers, I'm going to release on my Twitter a PO box address and number of a place where fans can send over letters or anything like that, and I think that's going to be the best place to reach me if they want anything signed.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. We'll definitely be sure to follow you and retweet all that information
Thank you.
once the interview is all set, and we'll include that in the post when it's up on the website in a few weeks for anybody who has missed the earlier bits of this interview and they're just tuning in now. But it's definitely sounds like a neat thing to do. One of my personal favorite things is always behind the scenes stuff, so it'll be cool to check that out when it happens.
Absolutely.
And before we let you go, since we're nearing the end of our time together, I was wondering if you'd be willing to participate in the 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Sure, absolutely.
We just asked everybody who comes on the show if they would do a radio bump for us. Basically, you say, hello, my name is, you insert your name. I do this, you insert what you do. You can say specific characters or just be general, whatever you want. That part is up to you. And you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Perfect. Let's do it.
All right, so whenever you're ready, we'll go for a live take one.
All right, let's do it. Hey, this is Antony Del Rio. You may have heard me on video games or seen me on TV, and you are tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Awesome, you got it all in one take.
I tried.
See, it's not that hard.
That was pretty good.
All right. So, if anybody out there missed any part of this interview, shame on you, like we said earlier, but it will be up on the website in the next couple days. So look forward to that, as well as be sure to follow Antony on Twitter, because we love behind the scenes footage as much as the rest of you guys out there.
Absolutely. Great. Let's do that.
All right. And do you have any final words before we say goodbye to the listeners for now?
Yeah, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. Everyone who's found me on Twitter and just given me the best feedback. Thank you, and let's continue on and grow together.
Definitely. And don't forget, our website will have all of the latest news on not just Kid Icarus and stuff that Antony's got going on, but we're continuing our coverage of E3 all this week. So make sure you tune into that and keep it tuned to your favorite music, because we have even more of it coming right up on 91.8 The Fan. Everything you want and nothing you don't.